Let's have a focus on conditionals. So the first thing you need to know with conditionals is there are two parts to the sentence. There's an if clause, which is our condition, and there's a main clause, which is our result. We can use the if clause first, or we can use the main clause first. That really doesn't matter. So let's have a look at zero conditional. So this is the easiest conditional because the grammar is quite simple. And we can say that this is something that is a general truth or a general condition, and it's 100% true. So if we say, if you heat ice, it melts, this is something that's always going to happen. So if you heat ice, it melts. So we've got if, heat, and melts. Another example could be, John never apologises if he is late. So this is something that happens all the time. It's a general truth about John. If we move on to the first conditional, our percentage goes down slightly. So this is something that is probable or likely, but we're probably on about 80%. So we use the first conditional for superstitions, for threats, warnings, or a probable situation. So if we look at some examples, if the sun shines tomorrow, I'll go to the beach. There's a high probability in this sentence. Another example could be, they won't come if the weather's bad. So if we then move on to the second conditional, the grammar changes here again. So with our second conditional, we have if plus the past simple plus would or wouldn't and then our verb. So when do we use the second conditional? Well, this is used to talk about unlikely situations in the present or in the future, or maybe imaginary situations. We can also use the second conditional to give advice in some way. So if I was giving somebody some advice, I could say, if I were you, I'd take some honey for your cough. Some other examples, if I had lots of money, I'd buy a huge yacht and travel around the world. If I were you, I wouldn't go by train as there are a lot of delays today. Another example could be, if I met Michael Jackson, I would ask him to sing Thriller. So let's look at now the third conditional, and we've gone from unlikely to now impossible. So the third conditional is used to talk about unreal situations in the past. It could also be used to express some kind of regret about a past situation. So let's have a look at some example sentences. If you had worked harder, you would have passed the exam. Now obviously we can't change this now because it's something in the past. Another example could be, if we had trained harder, we would have won the match. Now have a look at some of the pictures, going back to the course, and see if you can label them correctly. You need to decide if it's a zero conditional, a first conditional, a second conditional, or a third conditional.